Oh, you see, it's not recording. And that's not the voice of me.
It's working now.
Okay,
Go ahead, thanks.
I don't know how he guessed it, but I will show you the status of current status of workflows. So who has
integrated with forums?
So you want to make the demo?
Later.
Bertrand, are you the only one to have seen this module? I don't think anyone else has seen this module yet.
What?
Workflows, yeah.
You've shown the editor.
Oh, great! I don't remember. It was too long ago. So I must have shown you this, so nothing exceptional. So name. What should I name it? Workflow 1. That's a great name.
How to moderate, Sébastien.
When 1.7 is released, you will have moderation. Okay?
Does that mean we can moderate you?
You can always moderate me.
Awesome.
So, since last time I created a few more events. So content created and notified. So this is a temporary design. Okay, it's just okay. I need some buttons to add some activities. So they are called activities, and there are two kinds of activities. I don't think this was the case before. So now you have, when you click on this one, for instance, content created, this, you see this little icon. This means this is an event. This is blocking, okay? And
make it a symbol or something. It's more standard to represent an event. Nitpicking.
Yeah, okay. And this one is not an event, it's not blocking, so it's a notification. And you guess this one will wait for content to be created, and this one will notify something. And you might remember you can draw arrows between those activities. Okay, so this is explicit content created. When it's done, notify. And here, when I double click on notify, I can edit the form for the notify activity. So here I will just put an error just to see it better.
Are you going to make that a pop-up of sorts?
No, not right now. Bit cool technically, but this is better like this. Right now it works.
It looks disruptive.
Yeah, sorry, when I say it better, it works.
Okay.
And it's easier, I think, than a pop-up. Otherwise it will need iframe, because it's a server-side post-back in MVC.
So when you did that, it actually saved the workflow?
Yeah, I will come to this point, yes. So you see, I didn't click any button, so I can say hello world. Okay, it's recognized. This is the same form as the roles module. I save, it goes back, and you can see that this is notified dash error hello world. So this activity, or every activity, can be customized. The rendering can be customized using a shape. So there are shapes. Okay, every activity node is a shape, and you can use the default rendering, which is just the name of the activity, or you can render whatever you want using a custom shape template. And all those nodes are rendered server-side asynchronously. So there is a request, and synchronously, but using Ajax, there is a request on the server side to render every node. And right now, as you mentioned, nothing is saved. It's just local. Everything here is stored in the session storage.
But when you double-clicked on it, you went to a separate screen. So...
Yes, and yet it's saved in session storage. So I went
client-side.
Yeah, it's all client-side session storage state right now, until I click save, and then it will be persisted on the server side. Okay, so you can do lots of modification, go back and forth to the editor, and then when you decide to save it or to cancel it. Okay. So notification hello world, and this one, it's ugly. Oh, why is it here? So I can click start, to make this event the start activity for the whole, because I scrolled, for the whole workflow. Okay, so now the workflow is valid. I have a start state, which is an event, and I can just put start on events, okay, blocking activities, and then it will notify when I save. And so everything is working here, and I can save. And when it's saved, there is another postback. You see local ID here, meaning this is the workflow you are editing locally. So it's saving.
That's seriously ugly.
It's very slow. I hope I won't lose the connection like as usual. And I'm sure I will. Every time I'm doing a demo online, it doesn't work. I don't know what is causing that.
Yeah, you're dropping out. That has nothing to do with Link. Okay, we wait for him to come. Oh, he's still here. Maybe you should suspend video. Maybe that would help. Say something.
I can hear you, so it's okay.
You can hear him?
No, I can hear you.
Yeah, you can hear me,
Just
yeah.
in case no one else thinks that you can.
Okay. We can still see his screen, but is it his screen from 2 minutes ago, or who knows?
Oh,
Okay, he dropped out.
it's looking good.
Let's wait for him for a minute, and if he's not back in a minute, we'll switch to Nick's demo.
Sounds good. Let me just make sure it's up.
Yeah, Zoltan, what are you having?
Wait, does anybody find this eerie that Zoltan's... Look at what's behind Zoltan and looks what's behind Benedict.
Yeah, I thought the same.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Okay,
Okay,
we were waiting for that. Who's going to be the first to notice it? What do we say about
The
that?
first time I looked up from my other screen to notice it. It's like a game. What's different in this picture?
We'll have a pretty awesome announcement next week. So yeah, it's top secret yet. So yeah, you have 168 hours to wait.
You're sitting in the offices of your new company.
No. Good guess, but no.
Not yet. That will be the next thing.
Yeah. Next week, guys. We will announce it next week. Yeah.
Okay. Just share your screen. We'll go back to Sébastien.
How do I share? Alright.
Or we can try to read on Zoltan's lips to see what he was saying. Okay, go ahead.
Can you guys see my screen?
Not yet.
Alright. Tell me when. Can you see me? Can you see my screen?
Not yet. Still loading.
It's interesting. The connections has started slowing down.
I've got your screen.
Okay. Tell me, Bertrand,
Yeah.
have you got it?
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay. So I've done a little bit of work, or a lot of work, on open authentication, mainly for my forums module. I did it over the last couple of weeks, here and there. So I'm just going to show what I've done, what I've got quickly. A few things. Before I depended on link to Twitter, Facebook C#, and SDK, and also .NET Open Auth and a few other things. And what has been made apparent to myself is that upgrading all those libraries and maintaining all that is just a hell. And luckily, Andrew Arnett, who does the .NET Open Auth stuff, has managed to incorporate the logging into Twitter and Facebook and all that into his module, into a .NET Open Auth .asp.NET module. So with that in mind, when I came to upgrade, I decided now was the time to take a look at that, mainly because I stumbled across it. So I'm going to show you just quickly some of the stuff I've done. So I'm going to sign out, and you might see some transaction errors. So I don't know what those are, but I don't know how they've been introduced with my module, but I'll have to have a look at them later. So first things first. So I've got the default logon screen with a few extra things. So obviously with my nice little icons. And if I go to Google, select my Google account, it will jump back, and it will allow me to log in and link the user that I've just tried to log in with to a local account. So if I do that quickly, just show it working. So if I sign out and go to log in again, there you go. I'm logged in with my Google account. So that's pretty straightforward, really easy to do. Same goes for Twitter and Facebook. But let's try Twitter anyway, if I can remember my password. Okay, so I signed in a minute ago anyway with Twitter.
How do you integrate it?
How did I integrate what?
This logging. Just enable the module and it updates the logon shape?
Just enable the module, and yep, so what happens is that when you enable the module, it will override the logon and the register pages. So in my shape class, all I'm doing is that whenever you describe logon, I replace it with Open Auth logon. Obviously, the default one doesn't quite look like this, but it pushes all the information to the screen. I'll just show that quickly. So you've still got your default logon, which I copied, and then I'm just pumping out some extra stuff for Open Auth.
And just renaming, well, creating a shape named logon, and depending on the user's module doesn't work.
Sorry,
so you don't, because if you just create a shape named logon,
yeah,
and your module has a dependency on the user's module.
Yes, it does. I can't remember why.
Prefer it this way because this way in your theme you can have two templates, and you can enable and disable the feature without causing trouble.
Okay.
Yeah,
this is cleaner.
It seems to work pretty well at the moment. But yeah, I can always take a look at different ways later.
So what happens if you don't have an account on the site yet?
So
It creates one for you on the
if you
file.
don't have one, right? Okay, so that's the next part. So I was going to demo that. So I just need to enable. I'm just going to log on. I'm just going to log on as admin again. I just need to enable registration. So if you don't have a local account, you can't log in. Users can create. Okay. So let me just. So let's say you want to be able to allow users to register. So you need this to link onto the account to which the user is registering. So notice how I've got a username, which is Nicholas Main. That's the username that comes back from the OpenID, and an external logon data. I'm just going to minimize this for a second. That's,
So it looks for one account named the same on the system, and if it finds it, it displays that sentence here: this user account will be linked to Nicholas Main when you log in.
no, this.
Because you haven't logged in yet, so where does that come from?
This is the Twitter one. So I clicked on Twitter. So this is.
You already clicked on Twitter.
Yeah, I just clicked on Twitter. So that will link to my Twitter logon. So I haven't put in a little provider here or anything like that. So I could do that.
And it's also showing the sign in at the bottom in the footer, as if you're not logged in.
Yes, and it shows you the username password as if you're not logged in too, so you should not display that.
It's a little confusing.
I think this is the shape that you overridden, so that.
Well, no, because your user account will be linked to Nicholas Main, which is my Twitter username, not my local account username.
Yes, but you're authenticated, so why do you ask people to authenticate?
You should have a single account, isn't that the idea? I mean, I think it's great. I love being able to implement that, but
because because in order to use Orchard at the moment, you need a local account.
Yeah.
So,
if I came to this site initially and I didn't have an Orchard account, I don't really even think of it as an Orchard account. I don't have an account.
Well,
and I want to use my login from another service. It should create an account for me elegantly, which may be an Orchard account tied into one of these channels.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's like a auto-register kind of system, right?
Yeah.
And I think you need to revise the workflow here. It's more obvious what's going on, and when you say this user account, well, which user account will be linked to Nicholas Main, which Nicholas Main? So you need to be more explicit, I think, about what's going on here and explain it a little better.
Yeah, sure.
This is all constructive feedback. I mean, this is great, and I will use it. I will definitely use it, but
no, it definitely needs some tweaks. Or it definitely needs some more love. Just so you know, when you pop to the register, it takes your association with you. So when you do register, that account would then be linked to your new account, so on and so forth.
It should be done automatically.
Yeah.
Well, it will be done automatically. Well, that's true. You could do it. You could do it automatically. But
it's the point. If you have to create an account and then link it, you've gained a little. That next time you just have to click one button to authenticate, but you just made registration one more step instead of one less.
No, absolutely. I have actually got an option to do auto registration. I just haven't enabled it yet. So.
Can I quote you? No, absolutely.
Huh? Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's really good feedback. Thanks, guys.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, that was my demo. Well,
Great.
I guess.
Thanks.
It's great.
That's really cool, Nick. I like it.
At last, 2 years after.
Well,
Nick, what do you call the module, Nick?
Just open authentication. But so the amount of code that got rewritten was this amount. So to put it in contrast, there's quite a lot of yeah. Luckily, I kept the migration path, so there you go.
Wow.
So I can go on with my demo?
Yeah, please.
Sorry, I don't know what's happening. It's a hardware issue. I don't know what, but it happens even on Skype. when I do a demo online, maybe it's the video feed, I don't know. Maybe that's it. So I'll try again, and if it breaks, I'll connect again. So this was the first part of the demo. And I ended here. Can you see?
Not yet.
Well, it's written on my screen, people are seeing, so. It's okay?
Almost.
Okay. By the time it appears on your screens, my machine will fail. Bertrand?
Go ahead. As long as
No.
it exits, that's fine.
No. Okay, so I go to content, I create a new page, okay? So the workflow says when content is created, notify an error. So I go to page and I create page 1 and I hit save and it didn't work. Oh, I know, okay. I forgot to edit the content created state and say page. There was no state. The any was the default value, but there was no state actually. So I save again, and if I go to my content and edit this page and click save, it didn't work. It would be a awesome demo. What happened? Start, notify, error, workflow 1. This is page. It's a new page then. Page 2. Save. Yes, okay, it works. It was just a new page. So you see, hello world. So this works, and which means it's the same status as the rules engine. Okay. So I mentioned everything here. Then, next step. If I edit the workflow, and here I have content created. What I want to do now is I go to content created, it notifies, and then I want it to wait for the content, for this content to be published before notifying again. For instance, again in error, just so that it's obvious what we wrote, published. Save. And this is very important here because what we expect is that when a content is created, it notifies text and then it waits for the content to be published. Waiting means it's a long-running workflow. So the workflow will be persisted on the database and re-enabled when this event for this content item is triggered, and then continue the execution of the workflow.
And that start button that appears when you hover, it's to manually trigger the event?
No, it's to define this event as a start entry, initial state for the workflow, so that you can enter the workflow from there or from this one, for instance. This is the initial state of the workflow, the triggering state of the workflow.
Also, the same workflow can have multiple starting points?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think the button should be more explicit about that.
Yeah, so this one is ugly, it's not worked, it's just to have something technical to mark them at start. So I just want this one to be start, not this one is not starting the workflow. Okay? But because it's an event, if I go there, it's blocking on this one.
Can you just have a continue instead of start?
I don't want to continue. I just need to define the start events of the workflow.
Yeah, this should really be something like set as starting point.
There's no continue. What I explain is that look at what happens. Let me show you. So I save it. Okay, first content published. I can say any because now I'm in a workflow for a page, so I don't care about any more tests, and notify error published, and I save.
Will there be a way to visualize the current state of the workflow on a given
way?
Okay.
So if I go to content, sorry, to page. So you see page 2, not publish, I don't care. I will create a new page to instantiate a new workflow. Okay, because right now there is no running workflow. What you see here are workflow definitions. Okay, they are just describing workflows. When I created a page earlier, the workflow was running, but it came to the end of the workflow. So okay, there is no more workflow. It's done. I finished the workflow. Now the workflow has a wait point inside. So if I create a new page and I say page 3, I hit save, and I see, as expected, hello world. But now there is a running workflow which is waiting for this content item to be published. Okay, so if I go there, edit, remember the workflow definition says created, and then when content is published, notify published. So if I go to content now, this is one way of representing it. It's just development status. You see on page 3 there is one active workflow. There could be many more if you have defined different workflows for the same content.
Would it be possible to customize the way this is displayed here? Because one active workflow may not tell much.
This is the development status. I just wanted some note to see that it's working. So this is the shape, but yes, it will.
It would be great to be able to actually, if one of the actions modify set workflow status to waiting for approval, for example.
And as you mentioned, we will have a view to edit the current workflow, to change the state, for instance, to unblock it if it was blocked somehow, or to hack it if you have the permissions to do it, because there is a state behind that. And I see so that there is one active workflow, so I can continue. There is no hint right now in the UI to say what's the next step, but I know that the next step is do publish, and then the workflow will be launched again, and you see published. And now the workflow is done, so if I go to content, there is no more running workflow on this one. Okay, so what you have to note here, what is important, is that workflows can be also long running. That was why we made this new feature, to have long running workflows, not just rules and actions, but long running workflows. So you can have actions which spread on different days, months.
Will this replace publish later?
This could replace publish later, but publish later has a deep integration in the UI, very nice. So I don't think you should do that, because there is a specific one. So why create it again using a generic implementation? Yeah. So, but yes, it could be done. You can do lots of things now. And last demonstration. So this is just a summary on Inkshape. Last demonstration, I called it demo all the things. So let me just enable some stuff on my solution. I need one more second. Build action, compile. It should be all. Okay, let me just build my project, because I was hiding stuff. You know how I am, dickhead. So it's compiling. Okay, now if I go to the workflow again, so now you have the engine working like that with long-running workflows. Do all the activities you want to make it great. I hope it's not hanging. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you.
Because it's very slow. Okay, it's coming. The cycle went the other way around. Okay, I did this one. now you can see more activities. Okay.
I'll see that. Oh, there it comes. It was freezing on my
sorry.
screen.
So I will change the workflow. I will create a new one because there is some stuff here I don't want. Create new workflow, and I will call it validation. Okay. And I just want to start with content created. So when a page is created, then I will show you everything at the same time. I will create a user task. Okay, user task is an event, and a user task, okay, I can put it as a starting event. A user task will let me define what the administrator can do. The administrator can accept or reject. I could say anyone. Okay. Okay, user task. And so because I said accept or reject, I have a reject outcome and I have an accept outcome. On the accept outcome, I will trigger a publish activity. Okay. And I will also notify the author that his content has been published. So I will say your content is now published. Information.
How do you know that's going to notify that person?
Wait, Nick. I'm showing. Enjoy. So when the administrator accepted, it's published. But when he rejects, then I want to send an email. Does it please you? And you see how we can customize every activity. See, this is a nice envelope. So reject, send an email to who? To the author, the owner of the content item, and I will say subject, please correct. Okay. Action needed. Okay, save. I can use tokens and everything. Reject. Then when the email is sent, I will create a notification which says document rejected, email sent to, and I can say content.author, say warning. Then when the email is sent, a notification, I can go back to the user task, okay, just to say, okay, we are waiting again for approve or reject from the administrator. Okay, could be moderator, whatever role you want. Okay, and so what I want to do is that if someone is created the content, I don't want to validate it if this is not a specific role. So I could say is in a role activity. The is in a role activity, when I plug an event to it, as a no or a yes. If it's a specific role, I will create the user task. So for instance, if it's an author explicitly, then I want to wait, I want this content item to wait for moderation. It's just my workflow. If you don't like it, create your own. Okay, and I will save it. So content created page is author, yes, then user task. If the user task, so this is administrator, accepts, it's published. If he rejects, it sends an email to the author and waits for approval. And I can hit save. I have, do I have it running? Yes. I'm just showing you something. Wait a second. Okay, so this is SMTP for dev. Okay, this will show me if the email is sent. And as an author, well, let's wait, for instance, let's see if I'm not an author. Let's say I'm an administrator here. So if I create a new page, this one will say no, so it will quit the workflow. So there will be no running workflow, no saved workflow. So I'm creating a page. I say page 4, and I hit save. Okay. Publish, whatever. This is just the old workflow. You remember the old workflow is running, but there is no email sent, there is no action to execute. It's just the standard one. But now if I log in as an author, user 1 is an author, and he will create, I remove the publish properties for the publish right for this author. So when he creates a new content, you can see, because I removed explicitly the publish, it just can save things. So he will create a new page, page 5, and it's save. Okay, hello world, because this is the old workflow. But the new one, if I go back on the application and go to content, because I'm an administrator, I can see there are 2 active workflows. It's weird. There should be 1. And I edit. Maybe I forgot something. Oh, this is the old. Okay, there are the 2 workflows running. Okay, the one with the waiting for publish to show published, and the new one. And the new one, because I'm currently in the state user task for author, because I am an author, I can see accept and reject. And because I am an administrator, I can also publish or save, whatever, but I can say reject. So if I reject, the workflow goes on, sends an email. Let me show you the email that I just received. It popped up. Oh. Here.
So one thing that would be really nice is if you like, this looks like a really good moderation pipeline. Is to have some sort of inbox or something like that, so people know
what to do.
They need to, yeah.
So as I told you last week, Workbench in Drupal has that. So it's like a page which shows for a specific user what are the waiting tasks. Here it's different because it's a role, but you could say, okay, I'm in this role, so show everything that that an administrator can do is waiting or pending. But you see here, document rejected, email sent to user 1. So user 1 received an email as explained. And I can still accept or reject because it's still waiting for me now, because it's back into the user task state. So now if I accept, then it will go to published, and I should see 2 messages. Your content is now published for the second workflow, and the published error for the first workflow. And now there is no more running workflow. You see? So we have content validation and custom content validation with every step you want on long-running workflows.
Pretty amazing. I've worked with workflow, and this is just like that, Windows Workflow Foundation. Yeah, but better because of that.
And but in Windows Workflow Foundation or in SharePoint workflows, you don't have the JavaScript editor. You need to use SharePoint Designer to edit your workflows, and it's building a XAML file that you have to push to the server side.
Exactly. Yeah.
Here it's just live online.
That's pretty amazing.
And you can create your own activities, everything you want. It's very, very easy. It's orchardy. It's just an interface that you implement and 5 lines of code, and you have your own logic.
Show us.
I can't wait to see
I can
that,
show you.
actually.
So for instance, let me show you this one, everything, because this one is nice because there is a, well, this one is even nicer because it's more complex, but this one, let me show you.
If you tie that in, for example, to some of the things Nick did, then you have a package for being able to create users, easily notify, reject, accept.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
which is now missing from
Nick,
the whole logging in concept.
So typically, Nick, for his forum post, would say when a content is created of type forum post, then you could create an activity to mark it as spam by default, I don't know, or to make it just like here, wait for moderation based on the user role, because you can say if Anonymous created the post, make it moderation. If it's an authenticated user, don't moderate it, publish it. Things like that. You can do it in 5 minutes, less, just drawing stuff. So here, for instance, the easy.
What you're saying is even Nick can do it.
No, Nick can do anything. It just takes 2 years. So here
one of the things in the projections, for example, that is a little more challenging is that it's very easy to create a projection from the front end, but a lot of people have wanted to create projections from code so that later they can be modified by their users, but they are created when the module is activated, for example.
I agree. It's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy. And could we try to make it easy for workflows, for example?
I have an orthogonal remark, which is that you saw the workflow I made to validate using approve reject. It's typical one. What we could have is a module which is like a wizard, where you say I want an approval workflow based on this state and this state, like accept, reject for these roles, generate it to me, you know. And then when you go to workflow, it created it for you, and it's nicely organized, everything is there, and you can just change it if you need, but you have a wizard to generate it automatically. So maybe that's the same answer for the projections, to have a wizard which will generate it.
Actually, I think over the next year, a lot of us will work on simplifying some of the things you do in Orchard so that the flow is more natural for end users, and this is one way of doing it. Yes.
And it would be easier if we had like a Fluent API to create those ones during the migrations or during wizards. Easier for workflow or for projection. So here to create an activity, you just inherit from, it's just a I activity, okay? But I made some base classes, like a base activity, which is just a standard one, or a blocking activity, which is an event actually. I might refactor the names. And what you need to do is give it a name, technical name, category, description, very easy, localized strings, which form to use if you want a form. For this one is select forms, select roles. What are the possible outcomes? So for easy no it's just yes or no. For user task, it's dynamic. Let me show you in user task, because I will create as many outcomes as there are possible actions. So each action that you define in the user task is a possible outcome. So as you will edit the user task, you will see more blue points here. You see? Accept, reject. If I create other, then I will have another blue point here. So it's just get possible outcomes. And then you need to implement can execute. So when the workflow engine wants to execute a step, an activity, it will say, can I execute yourself? Or it's not possible because it's not the current context. And here it will say you can execute the user task only if the user is in the selected roles and has the action that he wants to execute. And then executes will actually execute the step if there is something to do. Here what it does is just define a token for something else and say, okay, done. There is no more step, no more thing to do after.
So how are you persisting running workflows?
So there is a workflow table. So there is a workflow definition table record which holds the whole graph. The workflow definition has a set of activity records and transitions between records. Okay. And then there is a workflow record, which is a state of a running workflow, which has awaiting set of awaiting activities, and an awaiting activity is an activity, a running workflow, and a state, and a content item. So it's just we serialize. So we serialize every time we are blocking on an event, we serialize a workflow with this blocking event and the conditions which make the workflow go on.
Got it. Cool.
So we can. So what we need to do next is, in front of each workflow definition, we can show how many workflows are running. So we want to see all the current validation workflows and edit them and put some links also to these pages from there. So you can directly edit the workflows assigned to the content item or assigned to these workflow definitions.
How do you prevent Stack Overflow?
So cyclic workflows, right now there is no validation. We could easily implement it, but the issue is that you could technically have a cyclic. This is what we have actually. If we go there,
you can, but there should be at least one waiting state in that loop.
Yes, exactly.
If there isn't, it's an error.
So if you go from notify, there is an issue. You can do that. But if you go from an event, from a non-event to an event, yes, it's possible. You see, there is a cyclic here, a cycle here. But this one goes there. Or we can also try to find if there is no other outcome which can go out. We could say, no, it's not possible. You need an outcome to go out or to finish the workflow. If we didn't have accept here, it could just go back and back and back. So it's not. Well, actually, you can, because it can be a never-ending workflow. Technically, it's possible.
That makes sense. That's fine. So we just need to make sure that there's
But we can add a step to validate it. Yeah, definitely. At least the obvious cases when you go from an simple activity to another one, which goes back, and then oof. I've found already some algorithms for that. Very famous ones I didn't know. So okay.
Did I write them?
And you see how beautiful it is? This is just because in the solution, every time you render an activity, you can, if you want, customize by shape. You see, with an alternate. So this is the default activity rendering, and there is activity dash user task, because this is the name of the activity. And for instance, is in role. What I say is that, well, this is stupid, it's not blocking, but I say class is in role inside the tag. So div is in role, and every time it injects a specific alternate, it will look for a name CSS. Because there is an issue here. I can't inject a style using the resource manager because this is all done using Ajax. Okay, so we need to, by convention, load a specific CSS. So when you create an activity, you need to provide a CSS. Otherwise, there will be a 404, but it's not critical either.
Yeah, you could make it work.
Okay.
I mean, it could be part of the
know.
Ajax payload, and the client script could inject the style.
True.
It could also work for script actually.
Okay. So is in role, we'll just say with and the background image. See here it's included in base 64 format, and then you can customize everything you need. Like this one is nice. This one, I made also this one. This one is not finished, but it will be a script, just a custom script like on the layers, so you can run what you want to decide if it's true or false, things like that. Like is on page.
Is that a decision? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's like a UML decision, right?
If you say so.
Yeah.
That's it. A lot of work to do, but the most difficult part is done.
Okay, should I say it? This is fantastic. This is great.
Yeah.
I'll admit. Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Last year, same time, we showed projections. What will we show next year at same time?
I think it's worthy of projections.
Maybe.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm blown away actually.
And and I'm sure One Stop will do a lot of different kind of activities too, because you can customize it as you need.
Does Drupal have anything similar to this?
No.
Does any CMS have anything similar to this?
I don't know any CMS. SharePoint has it, but you don't have the editor. Yes, SharePoint is far better than this one.
Yeah, but well, hold on. But
How is it
SharePoint's
far
a
better?
publishing workplace, so
Because it's Microsoft SharePoint. You can't beat Microsoft SharePoint. If you
Oh.
need advanced workflows,
Oh, okay.
go to
I
SharePoint.
see what you mean. What you mean to say is I cannot say that this is better than SharePoint because of who I work for.
Well,
So please say it for
This
me.
advertisement brought to you by Microsoft SharePoint. Thank you for your support of the Orchard community.
No, I don't know everything you can do in SharePoint, so I wouldn't say anything like that, because there are lots of things you can do that you can do here, for sure.
that's Bertrand. He wrote it.
No, I wrote the worst part.
The only thing I know is better in SharePoint is the HTML editor. Because in SharePoint you need the SharePoint designer, and then to upload your XAML file to SharePoint. Oh, sorry. Sitefinity has workflows using XAML like SharePoint. So you can use Visual Studio to create a workflow, and again push it on the server side. You need to push the binaries and the workflow itself.
But that's not very orchardy, is it?
No, they also have it. They are using Workflow Foundation.
How
But that's not orchardy. No, not at all.
Thanks, Zipka, for backing me up.
Yeah, this is
course.
way better.
How's all this stored? by the way?
Orchardy. That doesn't sound right.
Sébastien, how's all this stored? How's the workflow stored?
I explained to Sipka. You didn't hear?
I might have missed it.
Okay, so we have a workflow record, and when we run the workflow and hit the next step as an event, we save a link to this activity record to a workflow table.
Oh, okay.
And the current state.
Okay.
So we have the main pillars here are a workflow definition record, which saves the graph here, the logic of the workflow, the definition of workflow, and a workflow record, which saves when needed, a long-running workflow, the current state and the current task to execute.
What happens if you've got a piece of content in mid-workflow and you delete the next step?
Oh, you can edit it. If it's incompatible, it won't run, it will fail, it will stop the workflow, it will whatever. But that's why we need also debug tools to fix those things. But even if I was, for instance, waiting on a workflow here, I could modify the whole graph as long as I keep this element here. It will still go on, because it just knows where to enter next, because it's running. Here it enters when it's a new workflow. Here it enters when it's running. And you can have multiple times the blocking events to make long-running workflow. So you could wait for user task here, and then go to publish and wait for something else, and then go to, I don't know, unpublish or whatever.
Does it import export?
Right now, no. There is no import export right now. It will be done. Again,
Does it import from SharePoint?
No, it doesn't make sense.
Dumb question, is it easy to create a recipe around these workflows?
Once you have import export, I will say yes, because recipes are based on import export too, if you want.
Okay. So
And it will be easily done, because this is I copied some code from the rules, and the rules as import export. I will do the same code as in import export for rules, because rules is a set of actions and events. There is just no transition. What I need to do is just add transition tags to the import for rules, and that's it. So yeah, still work to do, but it was in a time that I could show it to you.
I'm prepared.
Yes.
Awesome,
Yeah,
Sébastien.
come on.
Awesome.
Lunchtime.
Oh, crap! We don't have time to do training.
No, it's okay. I'm exhausted.
Brett said that he had a short one. You have 1 minute.
1 minute.
Yeah.
1
Enough?
minute. Yeah,
Refresh, you're on.
I'll show something.
It has to be more awesome than this.
I'm posting the screenshot to Twitter, okay? So you don't have to do.
Okay. it's not going to be more awesome than that. I mean, that is hard to follow. Wow. Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay. How about now?
It's loading.
Yeah, but too late. A lot of time.
So I created a new module called App Restarter, and the way it works is basically it's a way of from the Orchard dashboard to recycle the app pool across a farm. So under settings, you list all your nodes. So in our case, we've got over 30. So they're all listed here, and all these nodes are sequentially listed.
Isn't it the whole internet? 30 servers?
with the host header. So this way, and then so each of those servers now has as part of the feature, has a controller on them to, when hit, it will delete files, mappings.bin, cache.dat, and then recycle the app pool on themselves. So, and then you can specify if you want to wait between nodes. So if I go ahead and hit this, it invokes, and it's using Piotr's signal R module to display to display back to the user what's happening. So it's going through all 33 nodes and restarting the app domain. Ideally we shouldn't have to do this, but in reality, because Orchard is not completely built out to be multi-node farm, there's a lot of state in when you perform dashboard operations that the other nodes don't really know about. So for one stop, we needed something like this. Before this, basically the way it worked is we'd have to run a script, a PowerShell script to do it. So now it's kind of encapsulated into a module. I made this module public. It's on Bitbucket, so I haven't promoted it yet, but I think it's something other people could use.
Are you going to put it on the gallery as well?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very nice. Thanks.
It raises hell in the, it doesn't, there's more things we could do, like integrate with their load balancer and take a node out, restart the app domain, and then add it back, but I haven't done that yet, so it kind of, there's a chance that you could be, live traffic could be going there, but that's kind of a different problem. I didn't want to overcomplicate it. It just, all it does is it goes to each node, deletes mappings.bin and cache.dat, and restarts itself. Any feedback?
Oh, how are you recycling the apples?
Aha! Excellent question. I didn't even know this, but I kind of stumbled across it. Right here.
Stack Overflow.
There's a command.
It's all black at the moment.
Oh, sorry, I'm not sharing. Here. I'll paste it in the browser window so you can see it. Sorry, I forgot I'm not sharing. I use this one command right there. That pretty much does it.
What was it?
Yeah, I'm pasting it in the chat window.
Oh, you're using unload app domain.
Yeah.
I've never used this before.
Why would you restart your app domain on purpose?
Yeah. But it was nice to see that I could just do it with one line of code.
Yeah, that's pretty much the one use case for that API.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was thankful that was there. I didn't really, so basically the controller just, it receives it and then it tries to delete those files and then it restarts itself just by calling that line.
Okay, well, thanks.
All right, that's it.
Okay,
so I have an idea for you.
Yeah.
You make a controller module which exposes signaler endpoints and a text editor for console commands in Orchard, which means that what you type in the commands console on your controller server will go directly on all the nodes. So you type a command and it executes on all the nodes automatically.
Oh, that's pretty fucking cool. Yeah.
You see, you have Orchard commands in the console, Orchard.exe.
Oh, Orchard commands, yeah.
Yes, but you make a web app, a module for that, a web app on a controller which knows all the nodes, and using Signalar every time you type, it goes execute them on different nodes. And you can have a status for each of the nodes because they push back the command line too. So you have errors and everything. So you can control all your nodes.
What would a use case be though? Why you would? I mean, usually I've only used command line.
Restart, boom, or refresh index, or I don't know, delete file, any command you want. And if you need more commands, you create just a command.
Yeah.
Then you can remote control all your nodes and execute what you want on them.
That would be handy. That's a good idea.
Import, export, save, reset index, create user, everything. Piotr can help you.
Some commands could be potentially dangerous.
Yes.
Yeah, like creating a user you just kind of want to do once, and
maybe on everything. It's just a nice
want
way
notifications that it happens to travel, but
throwing ideas and.
Yeah, no, Signalar. Is there any? I mean, has anyone on the call ever coded a module that the server is actually sending back status information, like trace log information, without waiting for the entire form post to finish, for example? Like, because I'm using Signalar, but now I have a dependency on Signalar, so anyone who wants to use that module has to have Signalar as well, which is, I don't know if that's necessarily great.
I never do Signalar code. I just do things that are useful.
Right, but I'm asking, is there any other way to push back status back to the browser without having to wait for the form post to finish?
Status. Logs.
Logs,
yes, but just logs.
Right, but I'm saying visually, so you're not opening up a .log file, kind of like, on your browser. I'm saying what I'm doing here by displaying those messages as they come in. Is there another way besides Signalar to do it?
If it's live, I don't know on Esplanade. No, it's the best way.
Okay. I mean, prior to Signalar, I think people would manually write JavaScript to do it. They'd hack it, cobble it together. But with Signalar, the whole idea is it actually is JavaScript under the covers. But
it's easier, yeah.
You're obfuscating. It's all.
And it's doing lots of things that you don't think about, and you have to do.
Yeah.
Like it will reconnect it if it loses the connections for different reasons. You can save the whole stack of messages if you need. And
yeah. So yeah, I'll push this one in the gallery, and maybe I will tweet it. I wish the gallery was linked to Bitbucket, so I didn't have to.
One day, soon.
Git.
Look, last week workflows didn't work. Maybe next week we'll have a new gallery. Never know.
Okay.
You made me think about something, Brett.
Yeah.
It's a little trick that I use when I need to monitor my log file because I'm expecting some exceptions and I want to. What I was doing previously was that I would just reopen the log file in my text editor, and this is not optimal. It's a stupid trick that I found. You just drop the file on your browser, and then you just have to hit F5 to see the new messages appear.
If you use Notepad 2, you hit F5 in Notepad 2, and it reloads the file.
There you go.
Good to know.
And I think there is even an event you can have, like the file has changed. Okay, because it takes it. So
yeah, I kind of like it in the browser actually.
Okay.
It sits in a tab next to my page, and I can switch back and forth.
That's handy.
Just a trick.
Also, not to demo this, but we added some settings to log4 netconfig, so it logs to the database. So That's something else that we did at One Stop, because we have all these nodes with all these different log files on their local drives. So we now write to a common database.
That would be a nice demo.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you want to demo that, Nick? Is it something that you want to make public?
Yeah, I could demo it maybe next week. Once we have a way of viewing it a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah, because right now I'm just viewing it in SQL Query Analyzer. Just select star.
Yeah.
But yeah. Once I have a better way of viewing the logs, I think it would be a good demo.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Are we just ignoring triage and just like hope the bugs fix themselves?
Yeah, next time.
I'm sorry, guys. One last thing. So we are still going to have a announcement next week, but actually I almost forgot about something. Zoltan reminded me. So it's just been confirmed a few days ago that we're going to be the tutors of an official Orchard University course. So it's going to be a real subject at our university, and we're going to teach Orchard there.
So will you announce the wedding date?
No.
Coming out?
Simply no. No, that's not the news for next week.
Okay.
But it's going to be better than that.
Better than that. Wow.
Yeah.
Zoltan will appreciate.
Yeah.
Bye
Okay,
bye.
so
See you
that's
next
it.
week.
See you next week.
See you next week.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Thanks all.
Bye, guys.
Bye everyone.